Now today we'll be showing on how to install MOOG sway bar links. Now jacking up the vehicle is easy enough. We're going to be jacking it up from the front cross member and then place the vehicle safely on jack stands. And then we're placing jack stands both on the driver's side, right underneath the frame rail, and as well as the passenger side, and then lower the jack. Okay, so very quickly, if this is sort of new to you, this is the front sway bar. It goes all the way from the passenger to the driver's side. These are the sway bar bushings. These are polyurethane. We just replaced them a few weeks ago if you want to check that out. But follow the sway bar to the end, and right here are the stabilizer links. Ultimately, it's connecting the sway bar to the lower control arm. Now, as you can see, it's wet on the ends. That's because I've sprayed some PB Blaster. You can also use WD-40. If you want more working room, you can also remove the front tire, but I think we'll be okay. Now this is a 2010 Subaru with about 145,000 miles in a winter climate. So certainly use the PB Blaster or the WD-40 to keep or to make it easy as possible to remove these. Now when you back off these nuts, you'll see in a moment with these fasteners, the stud here will want to rotate. So on the end, let me see if I can I'll give you another shot of last week when we replaced the lower control arms, but ultimately these will rotate, the studs will rotate. So you'll need a Torx bit to keep that from rotating. Now this is a small Torx bit set that I picked up a number of years ago. If you happen to need one of these, I'll include a link to our Amazon affiliate site. You could typically pick up something like this for around $10. In my case, I need a T30 bit. And then all that you need is a 1/4-inch socket, like so, okay? 1/4-inch ratchet, and this will hold the stud in place. Whoops, as you can see, it's a very inexpensive set, but this will hold the stud in place as you remove that fastener. Now I have a long wrench here. The longer the better, because you want as much leverage as you can get on these. And as you can see, it's already rotating. Let me loosen up the front one. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is jump over to a ratcheting wrench here. This is Harbor Freight if you're curious. Okay, hold this in place. Hold on a moment, there we go. And there you go, okay? So this is what you need to do on both on the bottom fastener and also the top fastener. Okay, here's your old stabilizer link. So take a look at the old component and compare it to the new MOOG stabilizer link. A lot beefier, certainly heavier in my hands. Really nice that they install these grease fittings. The best part, at least in my opinion, is the fact that you don't need a Torx bit. The reason why I say that, here in the Northeast, these Torx bits tend to spin. In other words, as you remove the stabilizer link, it just strips out. And the fact that they have an adapter here for an 18mm wrench, these will never strip out. That's the best part, and they cost typically the same or lower than stock. Now the other nice touch is they tell you right in the packaging to tighten the fasteners to 33 foot-pounds. If you do not have a torque wrench, just make them nice and tight. I do have a torque wrench, so I will torque these down to 33 foot-pounds and we'll be all done. Now a couple things when you reinstall the stabilizer link. Number one, make sure the grease fittings are facing the right way. In other words, if this was on the opposite end, there's no way I would have clear access to it. So same for the top one, as you can see. Number two, sometimes it may be a very tight fit reinstalling the stabilizer link and you have to loosen up the sway bar. In my case, it's a tight fit, but it works. But if you do have to loosen this up, I'll include another link or a link to another video when we did the sway bar bushings. So at least it gives you an idea. Ultimately, you have a couple of fasteners and the whole thing just drops down. And finally, if you do have a torque wrench, again 33 foot-pounds. If you do not have a torque wrench, always a good investment if you plan on doing your own auto repair. Sometimes you can just rent them from your local auto parts store. Let me see if I can get this on camera. There we go. There we go. And that's it, 33 foot-pounds. I'll do the same for the top one, and we're all done. Okay, and as a follow-up, I have been using this now for roughly 2 months just to test it out. No abnormal noises, no clunking, everything is in good shape. As you can see, I did pack the end with some grease. I just have a grease gun here. I cannot tell if these are factory filled from the factory, so I just want to be cautious and just fill in the end with some grease. But that being said, that's all that it takes to replace one of these, do both the driver's side and the passenger side at the same time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.